Hello and welcome back. In my previous video, I talked about leaving my job as a teacher and going into the HGV driver business. And so today is part one of my process through that. So let's get started. Okay, so I started my HGV journey about 2 months ago, just over 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago almost now. And that started by contacting a training provider and agreeing to do a back-to-back course. So at the time, the back-to-back course was you learnt to be a HGV Class 2 driver. That's a rigid vehicle. And then you would go and do another course to become a driver of a Class 1 vehicle, which is articulated. So it's usually a sort of a trailer unit, a tractor unit with a trailer, or sometimes it might be a rigid-bodied vehicle with an additional trailer attached to the back. Okay, so that's the process that I agreed to do. And within 3 or 4 days, I'd had a medical, I'd sent off for my provisional license, and things were going well. And this, just as things were sort of starting, I suppose, it started to hit the news that there was a shortage of HGV drivers. So things really did start sort of escalating from a national point of view, and I know a lot of other people then decided that actually this was something they wanted to do. But I was concerned obviously about myself and getting myself through the process. So I was waiting for my provisional. That took about 3 weeks, just over, to come through. So at this point we're almost a month in, but not quite. Whilst I was waiting for my provisional, my training provider gave me some online material to do the rest of the training, the theory training. So to pass or to become a HGV driver, you've got to do what they call a module 1, which is your theory test and hazard perception test, which you do at a DVLA centre. You have to do module 2, which is basically learning about trucking and loads and things like that. So that I've got actually in a month's time, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. And then there's the module 3, which is your driving, and module 4, which is a kind of show me, tell me to do with around the truck and things you should be looking for, and then strapping loads down and things. So module 1 I completed almost 2 months, just over 2 months to the day since starting the process, and that was because I was put in for my theory tests, module 1 A and B, which is my hazard perception and my theory, and my CPC module, all at the same time, and the booking was made for them all three. And the booking was about a month ahead of when the actual test was, because there's simply not enough spaces to push through and get people through. They're just not available, which I find staggering when they're saying there's a shortage, we're doing our best, and they're just not the capacity to do it. Anyway, the date came around. About a week before the date, I was told that they couldn't assign my name to the tests, and I had to figure out why that was. Eventually we got down to it that I had something called grandfather rights. Now, grandfather rights means that I passed my original car driving test prior to 1997, when the rules all changed. Now, because of that, the CPC, I have an option with the CPC. I could actually sit just a 35-hour course and do no test, and that's it. But I wasn't aware of that. I've been doing all my learning for the CPC online and ready to do my test in the centre. So that's the version, that's what I wanted to do. But because I had the grandfather rights and they couldn't assign my name to the tests, any of them, I had to cancel all of the tests and rebook. Now, luckily, I was able to I had the time to be able to travel. It was during half term. And so I was willing to go as far as I needed to get a date a bit closer to the original. And so a week later, I was in Bradford doing my theory test and hazard perception test, which I could book without the grandfather right thing complicating things. And I passed those. I'm pleased to say I passed those quite easily, although the hazard perception, I still say it's very subjective as to when you think something is a hazard or not. So you have to click when you think there's a hazard that's going to develop into something more. And if you click too soon, so perhaps you've spotted something and you go, that's a hazard, click, and you click too soon before the software thinks that that's what it is, then you won't be registered. If you have to click again and again as it's emerging. If you click too often, then you don't score at all. If you click too late, you score a lower mark, and it's some 5 to 1 or 0. So there is a bit of subjectivity, I think, in that test. But anyway, I passed those two, and I'm now trying, and then I had to try and book my third part, which was the one with the grandfather rights. Now, the DVSA told me that the training provider had to ring them to book the course to free my name. They rang them, and they were told, no, I do, because of GDPR and all that sort of thing. So I did ring them that day, and I had to wait for an hour and 50 minutes on the phone before someone answered. It then took a very short period of time. I think it was maybe 6 or 7 minutes, and I was booked onto a test date for that CPC module in York. But again, another month of waiting. So they're saying there's a shortage. They're saying we need to rush people through. There is no capacity to do so, it would seem. That was the first available date within sort of 2 or 3 centres close by. So, it's difficult. It's a protracted thing. And all the while, we're getting towards the end of my time as a teacher. So I have currently no job lined up, and I have no driving. And the reason I have no driving course lined up is because the government changed the rules to try and get more people through the HGV stuff quicker. So the rules change on November the 15th, which actually is tomorrow as I'm making this video. Now this will come out, this video will come out quite a bit after, but as I make the video, November the 15th is the date that the things are going to change, and they can then, as training centres, offer training to people, individuals, that will take them from a car license through class 2 through to C+E, which is your class 1, at once. So you'll only sit the one test in effect, and then be classed as a class 1 driver. Now, I was keen to get my class 2 done so that I can start some work before going on to my class 1 and getting that bit as well, because obviously that's what I've signed up for. The training provider have told me that they're not booking a course yet because of all the changes that are going on, and they'll be in touch with me in a couple of weeks. Well, again, that sort of, puts things back for me. It may even mean that they don't want me to do the class 2 at all, and that they want me to then presumably send off my license for a provisional in C+E. I don't know. I'm going to have to wait and find out until when they contact me again, or I'll be getting on to them in the next week or so if I haven't heard from them. So that's where we're at. We're at limbo at the moment. waiting for the training provider to say, yep, we're good to go, wanting a job, wanting to do the work, and the systems in place that the government have are not good enough in terms of capacity to provide the tests and provide everything else. So we'll see. But that's the plan, that's where we're at the moment, and I will update you in the next video. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed that. Please like, please subscribe, and we'll see how my journey unfolds. Thanks for watching. Take care for now. Bye-bye.